What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your Brewmaster-in-Chief. And tonight, in the BrewLab, I'm coming at you with another Gruul deck. But before we jump into tonight's deck, just a quick announcement. There's the pizza box open this Sunday. I am going to a bit of a Easter party tomorrow at a place called Beneath the Baobabs. So who knows if I will be a little bit hangover on Sunday, but if I'm not, I'm definitely going to be taking part, and maybe even if I am. But that'll be it as far as announcements. Let's jump into tonight's brew. I got onto this little bit of a Gruul mission. Yesterday's deck was Gruul, I know, but kind of revisiting a deck that I posted way back at the beginning of Kamigawa Standard, GruulChantments, but this is a version 2.0, and what got me thinking was the addition of Jugan in yesterday's deck, and I thought, that's an enchantment. Alright, let's have a look at that deck again, and I did some adjustments, and it's popping off. So, without further ado, let's jump into tonight's brew. GruulChantments version 2.0. Very, very low to the ground. Average mana value of 1.7, which is why it's okay to be running only 20 lands, which gives a lot of space to run a lot of 4-ofs in the deck. It's an enchantment deck, and it's running runes, so we've of course got to have the Kami of Transience and the Generous Visitor. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do the usual thing. Take the deck from the top, left to right, describe the cards, why it is that I've picked them to be in the deck, how it is that they synergize with the rest of the cards in the deck. Then we will be jumping into some gameplay footage on the Diamond Ladder, hopefully illustrating and showing off as many of those playlines and interactions for you against some Diamond opponents. And then we will be jumping back into the deck at the end with my final thoughts and overall deck review. So, we start off with a full playset of Kumano faces Kakkazan. Such a sweet card. I just keep trying to fit it in wherever I can, especially in my modified decks, but it's just really nice. Like, the static effect on the backside is great for all those death triggers on all the, you know, things like eye twitch. I particularly like getting with this. But the fact that you get to the additional +1/+1 counter on the thing that you cast on turn 2 is just really, really nice. And then on turn 3, you untap with the thing that got the +1/+1 counter and another hasty 2/2 and swing in and, you know, potentially do a nice turn 3 play or whatever. So just really, really great. And it's an enchantment, of course, so then it's going to be triggering all of our enchantment synergies. It's going to trigger the Generous Visitor, which puts a +1/+1 counter on various things, and of course also the Kami of Transience, which just keeps getting bigger no matter which enchantment you are going to be casting. So definitely an obvious 4-of in my opinion. Then I've gone for a full playset of Fang of Shigeki, because I wanted a Death Toucher just to get in the way of a lot of the stuff that Mono White is doing. Sort of stall them a little bit while we can get our game plan, especially when we're on the draw. This deck suffers a lot when we're on the draw. My win rate on the play is like 20 or 30% higher than it is on the draw, unfortunately. And that's mostly, you know, all of the Mono White variants I have to blame for that. But it's also an enchantment, so it's going to be triggering everything, as I just mentioned with the Kumano. And we do have a fight spell here in the form of Arni slays the troll. Target creature you control fights up to one target creature you don't control. So sometimes that can just be removal just straight up of a bigger creature than you know, than we have the power and toughness to fight with. So nice little death touchy 1/1 that's also an enchantment creature. Then obviously, full playset of the Generous Visitor. You almost always want to start your opening hand with one of these guys. Like, I sometimes even mulligan, even if I've got a decent hand that doesn't have the Generous Visitor in it, I might just mulligan, especially if I'm on the draw, to make sure that I do, because it's just really important. If you don't have Kumano, this is the next best 1-drop that you've got. And so, of course, a 4-of, it makes perfect sense with all the enchantment stuff that's going on. Then, we've got a full playset of Tamiyo Safekeeping. Like, I trimmed the last 2 lands. It was initially 22, and I went down to 20, and it's been running just fine as is. I was worried that it would be a problem, but this mana value, you know, average 1.7, really, like, with 2/3 lands on board, you can do everything that the deck needs to do. And we do, of course, also have the little bit of ramp from the monk creature token that Jugan poops out on the first chapter, which can help us ramp a little bit as well. So really not a problem. And so now we've got a full playset of Tamiyos, where I initially had 2 in the deck in version 1. and it's so important. This Vanishing Verse, Wandering Emperor, like all of Farewell. No, well, Farewell this won't save you from Farewell, unfortunately, but there's just so much good removal. The control decks are running amok, and Tamiyo Safekeeping is here to save the day. So definitely needed to be a 4 of, just to save our important things, especially Kami of Transience from Vanishing Verse and Generous Visitor from Vanishing Verse, because they're mono-colored cards. So I've gone with a full playset, and I hope to show you, I already did in yesterday's Gruul deck, like how important it is these days to have something that gives hexproof, and the fact that it also gives indestructible and gains you 2 life is just such a sweet little package for 1 mana. So full playset of Tamiyo's Safekeeping. Then we've got a full playset of Kami's Flare as one of our removal spells, alongside Arni Slays the Troll. I don't know if we could maybe just go for like a 2-2 split and put in the other favorite of mine, but I wanted like consistency. The Flame Discharge. We might end up making that edit by the end of tonight's gameplay footage, go for like a 2-2 split like that, because this one just scales up a lot better. You know, this is capped at 3 damage, but I like the little bit of extra reach with the 2 damage to the opponent, because we almost always will have modified creatures on the battlefield, but we'll have to see if we do that or not, and that might be something we'll talk about at the end of the video. Then we've got some runes, of course. It's a Gruul Runes deck. This is going to be helping us with our card draw, because we don't have any other card draw, so the runes are going to be helping us draw some cards, and also just giving stuff that enter the battlefield haste, potentially, and +1/+0 with the Rune of Speed. They're also, of course, enchantments, so we're going to be triggering all of our enchantment synergies, as you know from the Naya Runes deck. I could not bring myself to make a Naya one, so here's a Gruul version, and I hope you like it a lot, because I am particularly loving this little brew. Kami of Transience, obviously. Every time you cast an enchantment spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. If you've also got the Generous Visitor in play, you can grow this thing to be huge, and you know, maybe give it trample, give it haste the turn it comes into play, and it keeps coming back from the graveyard whenever enchantment spell ends up in the graveyard at the beginning of that end step. So even if it happens during the opponent's turn that one of your enchantments ends up in the graveyard, then you can bring Kami of Transience back to your hand and keep casting it and keep going with this card. If you ever have an opening hand, we have like 1 or like 2 of these in there, it generally ends the game pretty damn quickly. Such a sweet card. I remember when I talked about this early in Kamigawa spoiler season, I was so hyped on it, and I was absolutely correct. This card is an absolute house. And so, of course, we've gone with a 4 of, which brings us to Rune of Might, which can give one of our non-tramplers. Try not to put your Rune of Might on your Kami of Transience if you can absolutely avoid it. I like to put it on like maybe a Fang of Shigeki that we've made huge with Generous Visitor. Giving our Death Touchy guy also trample is pretty nice, but also you can put it on your Generous Visitor, and you can put it on your Weaver of Harmony, which is the next card in the deck, which I wish I could put a 3 of in. Let me know what you think you would trim to go with a 3 of, maybe just one of the Jugans or one of the Arnis, but I did want like 8 removal spells. What would you trim to put in a 3rd copy of the Weaver? Because this card has so many sweet things going on with it in the deck. First of all, obvious one, you can double the +1/+1 counters that Kumano gives a thing when it enters the battlefield, so it would get 2 +1/+1 counters instead. Second of all, of course, all of the +1/+1 counters stuff that you'd be doing with enchantments entering the battlefield. Second of all, you can draw. Third of all, you can draw 3 cards. So you can draw an additional card off of the runes by tapping it. My favorite one so far is the 3rd chapter of Arni Slays the Trolls, which says you gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Sometimes you've got some massive creatures on the battlefield. You've managed to satisfy the Remnant of the Rising Stars condition that makes it into a 7/7 Frampler. And so then, you know, you're gaining 7 life, but if you can double that with the Weaver of Harmony, then you're gaining 14 life. I've entered some games on like 40 life in a Gruul deck. It's freaking crazy. So Weaver of Harmony, and then it also gives our enchantment creatures +1/+1. So like your Fang of Shigeki, your Etching of Kumano, and your Remnant of the Rising Star are all going to get a little buff from Weaver of Harmony. And of course, if it's not legendary, you can have multiples on the battlefield. So then they buff each other. Really, really nice. Again, trying to find a way to squeeze in a third copy. Let me know what you would do to do so. Which brings us to our Arni Slays the Troll. This was also in yesterday's deck, and it's just fantastic. Fight spell on the front on the first chapter, ramp and modifying things on the second chapter, which we want, and third chapter gaining you life, like I just described. The Weave of Harmony can be really, really good, and it is of course also an enchantment, so it triggers all of our enchantment synergies. Which brings us to our top end. Again, a card coming back from yesterday's brew. Jugan Defends the Temple. Ramp on the first chapter, modifying stuff on the second chapter, and then coming back as a flyer. So, giving a deck that didn't have any, flying evasion. Finally, we got a Dragon Spirit at the top end here that can potentially become a 7/7 Frampler, and also just becomes a great mana sink. It is a tad slow, this card. People complain about that, but when it does go off, it's freaking amazing, right? Like, you can dump all your mana into whichever creature enters the battlefield after you've got the Remnant of the Rising Star there, and just like put that many +1/+1 counters as you dump mana into it. And that's going to help also make it a Frampler. It might be that last card that you need to have modified on, so that it becomes a 7/7. So really, really nice. And I've gone with the full play set, and this is of course also an enchantment. It's going to be triggering all of our enchantment synergies. And that's the deck. As far as the mana base, we got 1 Den, 1 Lair, 1 Sokenzan, 2 Boseijus, because freaking Naya Runes, and the rest are just duels and basics as usual. That's the deck. GruulChantments version 2.0. Worthy 2.0 in my opinion. Let's jump into some games. Ooh, I got an interesting little brew here coming as well for tomorrow, maybe. I've been testing it today. Interesting stuff going on there. Anything but Exile Tribal and Mono White, please. Pretty, please. Or if it is one of those two, let me please be on the draw, on the play. Tamiyo's, Kami's Flare, 1 Jugan. Ah, that's a mulligan. Tiny bit better. Still not the best hand, unfortunately. Seems to be either Naya Runes or Werewolves. Maybe the Bard class deck. There's a few things this could be. So, get ready with the Kami's Flare if we need it. I have a feeling we will. Perfect. Off to a pretty nice start. I wish we'd had, our Generous Visitor or our Kami. Haven't drawn any yet. Evolving Wilds. Why not? Did not think so. Really? Should we block it? Should we block it? I think we block it. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. You would have done that anyway. Cosmos Elixir. And here we are flooding out. Flooding out in a 20 land deck. Sometimes I wonder, what have I got to do to stop flooding? Oh, yay. That's going to be game, unfortunately. Disgusting. Good game, good game. Did not get our, like, good, you know, aggressive start. I wish I had 2 things to cast there to flip this back from nighttime. What a ridiculous card. That's game over. I should just concede, but I just want to play it out for whatever reason. He's even got an additional bit of removal just to really put the nail in the coffin. So busted. On to the next one. Pity. We got basically all of our top end of our library, like all the stuff that we would rather get later in the game, and none of the, like, Kumano faces Kakkazan, the spirit little 1-drop guy, and none of the Kamis until later. Maybe the second game will get the other half of the deck. That Averbrook Caretaker is... I've been testing it out in a Bant Reanimator shell with Vorinclex. Oh, Sways! Hey! Fellow content creator. Ooh, the pressure's on. I gotta win this one. Heyo! He plays some crazy stuff. Innkeeper. Go and give Swayze a follow. Tell him Lone Fox sent you from the BrewLab. Super, super, super good decks. Like, I love his stuff. Got some protection for whatever he's got coming next. Seems to be some, like, Abzan shenanigans going on here. Come on, not another land, please. Nice. Could be a sweeper, so we've got Tamiyo's ready. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Nice. Abzan tokens. I have a feeling there's probably what's his face? Two down. Come on, we need some gas next turn. Some serious gas. Oh no. More gas. Yes. Swingaroo. We just won the game. Ha! Nice. Very nice. Whew. Close. I was a little worried there for a moment. Those 4/4 flyers with vigilance are nothing to scoff at. Heart's thumping. Whenever I'm up against another good content creator, especially one that has more subscribers than me, I get very competitive. The last time we ran up against Asian Avenger, and I beat him too, so far so good. But yeah, like I said, please go give him a follow. Like, his some of my favorite brews. He's a proper brewmaster, and I really appreciate his contributions to the meta. So go give him a follow and let him know where you've come from. Next up. Oh no, Gojira! Gojira! It's Gojira! Oh no! Oh, that's hilarious. Alright, we got the visitor. It's Probably just going to get removed straight away. Ah. Let's just get rid of you. Okay. Really like another red source next turn. That's a big problem. Sorry, I meant another green source. So, ask and you shall receive. Why is he saying that? What have you got? Are you saying that because you think you've lost? Okay, well, I can block. But you've got first strike. That's a big freaking dude. It's like a version of what we were playing yesterday, but just leaning more heavily into the invigorating hot springs. Can only do this once a turn. Nice. We can give Jugan haste, but he's got a flyer. Try force the trade here. It's got some removal. Too much for the opponent to deal with. That's just fantastic. Misa likey. Hey, not doing too bad. Game 1 was a bit disappointing, but so far the deck kind of doing exactly what it's supposed to. We haven't seen any Kami of Transience. We saw the 1 in Game 1 way too late. So let's go for an opening hand with a Kami in it, please. We do have 4 of it in the deck. I'm going to do a slightly shorter video tonight, guys. I still need to upload spoiler talk and this, and it's very late. I need some beauty sleep. Spoiler season's been nailing me, having to do these double videos every day. And I know a lot of you don't watch my spoiler talks, but I do it for myself more than anything. Like I've said a few times already, it's just so good for me to read through those cards when they come out, so I can already start to sort of create deck ideas in my head. Okay, let's keep this. Oh, no. hope it's not just a Brutal Cathar straight away. I would not be surprised. Or a Skyclave Apparition. Phew. Okay. Thinking whether to hold up Tamiyo's or try and draw another card. Yes! Oh no. Wait, did we play a land already? We did. Oh, damn it. Okay, okay. He'll take the Jugan, almost certainly. Really? Sure, man. I'm absolutely okay with that. Let's try and get this flyer up in the air. Otherwise, we need to get our copy of Kami's Flare, like, ASAP. That'll do it. That'll do it. And it'll also gain us some beautiful, beautiful life, which we certainly need. I'm going to save that for when Jugan enters the battlefield next turn. Unfortunately, not enough to hold up Tamiyo's for the inevitable Brutal Cathar that's going to be coming our way soon. For now, though, the 7/7 is stonewalling the mono-white opponent. I don't know why it gives us that option. Get stuffed, Mono White. Get stuffed. Off you go. Beautiful. Just beautiful. So, Jugan, finally doing some serious work here, guys. Became the 7/7 Frampler. It doesn't say 5 or more other modified creatures, so he counts as one of them. Very important to note. Putting that rune on it there suddenly was just what what put the nail in the coffin. I was about to swing there. That would have been fantastic. Whew! Luckily, no Brutal Cathars, no Skyclave Apparitions coming our way. Otherwise, the game would have gone much differently, especially because he, you know, taxed our Tamiyos. But very nice. Very, very nice. I think, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to jinx it. It's been a fantastic couple of games. I don't think we got to show off the Weaver of Harmony, but there is only 2 of in the deck. That's about the only interaction that I described in the deck tech that we did not get to show off. But you'll have to just take my word for it, because I do need to start editing and you know, uploading these vids. So jumping back into the brew with my final thoughts, I think it slaps, I think it's fun, I think it's fast, I think it's unique. And I think you should definitely give it a try. I don't know if it's tier 1 at all. Most of the time today, like, my win rate's around 55% with the deck. You can go and have a look on my Untapped profile. But yeah, the mana was really not a problem, down to 20 lands. There was even times when we were flooding there. And as you saw, the little monk token there was helping us cast a few things in the game. The card draw from the runes. Just in general, a fantastic little brew. And against Swayze there, the Kami's Flare, like helping us end that game. So just fantastic little brew. And I hope you all take it for a spin. I wouldn't make a single edit. It's except, again, like I was trying to say in this intro, like how can we fit a third one in? Please let me know in the comments what you would trim to put a third weaver. But yeah, that's going to be it for tonight's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you all tomorrow for some fresh brews. And until then, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out. Peace, y'all.